Hi, and welcome to the recording for the Women Lead interviews hosted by me, Angela Clark, with our guest, Melanie Hamilton, a prolific speaker, minister, and creator of the charity My Second Chance. Enjoy. Okay, so this is now my formal good evening and welcome to the third of our Women Lead series. It's really good to have you here. Great to see so many of you that have been like along the journey with us. It's really great, really good, and good to have my previous guest, Michelle. In fact, Michelle, you were my first guest, so it's really good that you've kept with us and that you're here. So thank you very much for your support, and all of you. Thanks for being here and thanks for supporting. I suppose it's big for those of you who have been here for the first time. Let me just explain to you. Well, actually, first of all, I'm going to ask you to mute if possible, definitely, because as you know, Zoom is temperamental enough. But what I will say is that it's so temperamental that sometimes we may freeze or something may happen. And if that does happen, just keep going. Just stick with us. We will keep talking until we get back in line. So don't worry if you freeze or anything like that. It may happen, but we're hoping that it doesn't, and it doesn't interrupt the night that we're going to have. I'm going to start really by telling you why I am doing what I'm doing, because this is not for fun. I don't see this as, although I do enjoy it. The reason why I chose to do it was because I felt that it was important for me to leave a legacy behind, for one, a legacy of my life and what that entails. So for me, this is just kind of a start of that process. And every guest that I will be having on the series, and I've had on the series to date, they have had a very influential part of my journey. They have been very influential in my life. They have in some way impacted me in a way that has empowered and inspired me to kind of be the best of what I can be, even at times when I've not felt that I could be. They've kind of in some way kind of given me the push that I needed to go that one step further. And also as I am now a leader in many different forms, I didn't just arrive here. And there is that thing that says don't step on people to get to where you need to get to, but bring people with you. And I just feel that these women have demonstrated that, because they have, as I said, impacted in my life in some way, some positive way that that has really stuck with me, and have really kind of deposited nuggets in my life that I think is important. And I suppose what I want to demonstrate to all of us here is the fact that this journey, it's not an easy one. We don't just arrive as leaders, and I'm not just talking about leaders in the professional sense of having a job that makes you on any kind of platform. I'm talking about if you lead in your home, if you lead with the children, whatever you're doing, we as women, we lead, we have to in some shape or form. And even if we are leaders on a platform, we didn't just arrive there. There was a journey for us to get there, and that journey had its twists and turns, some good, some bad, but it's shaped us into the leaders that we are today. So the stories that you hear are not just stories. I don't even classify them as stories. They're lived experiences, and there will be a time when I'm sure that I will be in the reverse. I will be the one that will be being interviewed, and you will hear about my life. But what I try to do in every session is really to kind of give you just a snippet of my journey too. So I'm not just getting information from my guests and just kind of not sharing everything of myself. I've learned to be vulnerable. I've learned to unashamedly share of myself, because as I say, we sit here and we sit here and we have our makeup and we have our whatever and we look nice. But as I said, but for the grace of God, because I could have looked quite different, and I could be in a different place, in a mental asylum, and in somewhere that that you would not have seen me but for the grace. And it's because of my trials and tribulations, to be honest with you, that's made me stronger. You know, so I'm not alone in that respect. I'm sure that many of you on this platform can testify of the fact that, you know, your life has been eventful in many different ways. It's had its highs and its lows, but actually you're here, you know, and because you're here and because we're here together, you know, that's something to be celebrated. So I do see this as kind of a celebration, really, a celebration of women who have overcome, who continue to overcome and will overcome because of the stories and because of the life experiences and the lived experience that we have had, that we're sharing with you. So that's the reason why I've done this, and that's why we are recording it, because what we're hoping is that, you know, that long after we've gone, you know, our lived experiences will be here for the next generation, and your faces will be here, you know, as testament to the fact that actually, yeah, this happened, and yeah, you know, there were 40 plus of us on this platform actually talking about what it's like to be a woman in the 21st century. You know, the fact that we've had to stand on the shoulders of giants, and we have, to get to where we've gotten to. If you don't hear about the stories, you won't know what that entails. So enough of me talking, because I say every time we meet, I can talk. I really can, I know. So I'm going to stop talking, and I am going to introduce to you a lady. Let me say a lady first. A lady that I hold in such high esteem. And I know I'm not alone in that. I know that there are many people on this platform who know Melanie, know her work, also know her heartache as well, you know, because, you know, as I said, let's keep it real. So tonight we're going to, and I said this to Melanie before we came on. I said, I want people to know Mel, the real Mel, not necessarily Minister Mel or not Mother Mel. I just want them to know Mel, and in all her facets. And, you know, Mel is here to share as much or as little of herself as she wants to, but I'm telling you, she couldn't share it all because there is so much. There is so much to tell. So I am going to introduce to you Melanie Adina Hamilton. So I know you can't unmute, but I am definitely going to clap you myself now. And thank you for being here, and thank you for being with us. Because it's an honor. It really is an honor for me to be here with you on this platform. So yeah, say hi to those who have come to hear you.
Yeah, Angela's already let out my business. Where are you going with my middle name? It's actually pronounced as Adina, but yeah, I don't know.
Adina, sorry. Well,
yeah, I don't let that out. But anyway, okay. Thank you.
I love it though. I love it.
It's a part of our heritage, one of my great grandmother's name. It's an honor to be here. You can probably see that the camera's shaking. I'm very nervous. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but no, I'm blessed to be here, and it's lovely to share the journey, because I know that a lot of things that I've gone through, I've made it thus far because others have gone before me and shared their story to help me when I've gone through my own stuff. So I do hope that what I share today will be of benefit to somebody, and that you'll see the funny side of me, not always just the serious face.
Okay, so I'm going to start with something that I'm sure I mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again. A strapline that you have that says, "Together we can make a difference." That really has stuck with me, because I'm a strong believer in collaboration. I'm a strong believer that, you know, in the fact that we need each other. You know, as women, you know, we need each other. We don't get to where we get to alone, you know, or in isolation. And so where did that come from for you? Why did you choose that strapline?
You know, it's funny. It's a combination of a couple of things. It's things I've gone through in my life where the enemy always likes to tell me that I'm in this on my own. And that's where he gets authority and power. Because when you feel that you're the only one going through it, nobody else understands, he can spin you any form of line that he wants, and you start to believe it. But when I started to learn to talk and to share, be transparent, and you know, actually be quite open about things that I'm going through, I realized that so many other people have gone through it, going through it, gone through worse than I've gone through. And that enables me to understand that we're all different parts of the process, and somewhere along the line I'm going to come out because somebody else has gone ahead of me and they've gone through and they've come out. And I've just now understand that I just don't have that mentality. It's just me, myself, and I, you know, I can go through this together. And there's so much power in agreement.
Okay. I'm just going to answer a question because Michael's just said, is this a women's meeting?
Who did say that?
I will say, Michael,
Okay.
you are most welcome. This is not a women's meeting. It's about women leading, but it's definitely for men to hear as well. And, you know, if you've got any questions, then please then put them up, because again, we don't, you know, this is not, you know, this is not just for women. It says the title is Women Lead, but we want men to come along and hear our stories too, because it's not about confining it to women. So no, you stay, feel welcome. And yeah, we want some input from our men as well. Definitely. So Mel, a couple of things. The vision that you have, and we're going to come on to Second Chance. We're going to talk about that. But there were four vision statements that you had that, again, you know, people, you know, for their businesses, they have, you know, vision and mission. But I saw that you had kind of four vision statements. The first one being, do not pass anyone in need. Yeah. The second one being, love thy neighbor as thyself, or as thyself. You do not need to have a reason to help. And the last one was, and this is what resonates with me, your life is your message to the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell me where you got those? I mean, because as I said, they all resonated with me, but that fourth one really stuck with me.
Yeah, I think it's funny because as I talk, you'll understand where the birthing of Second Chance came from and so forth. And for me, it very much was about my own life experiences. And I, at different junctures, just wish I had people that came alongside me, or somebody that didn't view me by how I looked, but was able to show empathy or compassion for me, which then would have opened the door to enable me to be able to speak about where I was coming from or what I was going through, because we're really good at hiding the truth. And many of us are brought up to just be strong. And a lot of times that is not actually how we are. And so from there, that's where I kind of realized that if I'm going to be of benefit to anybody, I've got to break down that falsehood that we've got to pretend to be okay. One of the statements I really dislike is fake it till you make it. That's not truth. That's not true. Because you fake it long enough, it's going to become your reality. Hey, no, fight until it becomes the truth. You know, don't be faking. I don't like false things. It was a conversation I had today with my son. I said, I've realized I'm going to be 55 this year, putting it out there. And it's all right. I look 21. I'm quite okay with that. And, you know, I said to him, I actually don't like playing games. You know, people play the mind games and, you know, like to pretend to be something till they get what I don't do all of that. I don't know how to do it. And I personally don't want to begin doing it. So I like to come to you as I am. I really do. And in doing so, I hope that opens up for somebody else to come back to me the same way.
There's something about authenticity that is important to me. Authenticity and integrity, those two things are really, really important to me. And certainly in you, I found both.
Bless you.
Definitely, I found both. And again, another reason why you are here. Because, yeah, fake it till you make it. I'm not into the faking thing. Yeah, Yeah, because the thing about it is you can only fake it for so long.
Absolutely.
You know, if you're not authentic, people will find you out. It doesn't matter how long it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you again for your authenticity and for the integrity that you display to so many. That really does go far. So we're gonna start your journey with we're gonna show a picture of your, I suppose, your family and your kind of beginnings. So
Yes,
that
and those ribbons.
those ribbons. So this is the Miller family. So tell us where your beginning, you know, where your journey began.
Okay, so my mum and dad are both from Jamaica, Clarendon, and my older brothers, which is Leicester, which is beside my dad, and Milton, which is beside my mum, they were born in Jamaica. And then we are the British born ones, which is Terence, which is the next one down with the dicky bow. You could never get that on him now. And then me, the cutie one at the bottom. I haven't grown much since then, to be honest. And my sister in my mum's hand. So it was the five of us, and we've always been very, very close as siblings. You know, my eldest brother Lester, we're 10 years apart, and then we're like 2.5 coming down. So yeah, that is us. And my dad and my mum were entrepreneurs in their own right. Didn't understand it at the time. Did their partners. My dad run his own little domino club in the bottom of his house, and my mum was one of the top sellers of Avon for numerous years. I've got so many glasses. Yeah, I've got so many glasses and products that she has won. And so they kind of laid a great foundation for us. My middle brother, because we call them the big brother, the middle brother, and the little brother. The middle brother, which is Milton, he actually ran a youth project in Peckham when nobody was doing that sort of thing, called Sojourner Truth. And that was where I actually started teaching dance at the tender age of 16, but we'll come on to that. So,
yeah, we will.
So, yeah, love my family.
So
okay.
So this is the dance that you were talking about.
This is one of our dance companies. Who can remember this? The ILEA, the Inner
London Education Authority. Is that correct?
There we go. We were a dance company that was formulated to go into different boroughs, and we were all taken from the different boroughs, and we used to dance in different places. And then also we had the privilege of dancing at the Royal Albert Hall. Who can find me?
Yes, I can see you in the second row to the left. You look, but you look so much like Andine there.
I do. I
can
yes.
see you at the back there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you go to school? Did you were brought up in South London? Is that correct?
I was, hence the accent so strong. Yeah, I have South London born in Dulwich Hospital. Lived in East Dulwich for many years, and that's where most of my family are situated. And we went to my school was called Waverley Girls' School, and with that lovely red, and that's one of my best mates, Tina. We're still friends to this day.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it was quite funny because she moved away from London probably in our year 2. And moved to Camvey Island, and Mel would go up and visit her, and I remember her wedding and being invited. Yeah, so she's a good friend, and we met up a couple of years back, and that's the picture then of the before and afters.
Oh wow! You hear that? The school was never the same after.
Oh, no, yeah, that's true. I know. I've got evidence on there. Just before you go on, just to share my life at school wasn't the greatest, and that's why
I want to hear about that.
That's why somebody's written that, which is absolutely hilarious. When I started going to school at that time, I literally was in a broken home. My mother and father had separated, and it was quite abusive, and it was just not a nice place, and social services and stuff like we know now was not the way it was.
No.
Okay, and so I kicked off at school, and the funny thing is that I started at primary school, and I remember an incident where a young child said something to me that I didn't like in the dinner hall, and I picked up the nearest thing I could find and I just threw it across the room, only to realize that it was a knife, the dinner knife that I'd thrown. But what that did, it actually put a marking beside my name. So when I went to secondary school, I was deemed as violent, I was a troublemaker and so forth. So even though I had good academic skills and so forth, that was no longer seen. What was seen was that I was troublesome and so forth. So I ended up being in a set that was probably lower than what I should have been. And I was in a school that reflected quite a lot of racial pressure and so forth. Our music teacher put us in order so that we look like the keyboard.
Oh, stop.
I'll leave you to work that one out.
Okay.
And so I had a lot of things going on. So long story short, I was suspended from school 22 times. I was a living nightmare, to be honest. And I was put into
22 times.
Yeah, we're going to quickly move over that bit. And
no, because the thing about it is, if that was in this day and age, you wouldn't have got to 2. They would have expelled you. It just goes to show how the times have changed.
Yeah. I then was taken out of school and put in a unit. So I would have to travel to a place where I would be seen by people and discussed and so forth and so forth. But thank God for saving grace. So along the journey, I became a Christian, and dance was my place of release. And it was a way of me expressing myself. And it was with a beautiful dance teacher, Miss Innes, who invested so much time in me that I was able to obtain my qualifications, and I came out and followed the path as a dancer. And that was the profession that I was looking at. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And someone has said, look at the journey. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God is good.
Yeah,
is good.
he is. He is. So we have the picture of the Hamiltons, and that, you know what? I'm looking at that picture and I can't tell whether that's you or your sister.
Okay, so that's so me.
Wow.
I tell you how to always know. I'm the blondie. All right. So Dean's always had black hair. So
okay.
Yeah, so that's me. And to the back is my son Lamar, and that's my ex-husband Leighton. But we're all good mates, and we're all, you know, we've gone the journey. And that actually was a brilliant picture that was captured actually at my mum's funeral.
Oh, wow.
That somebody was sharing just my mum's sense of humor, and it just made me laugh.
Oh.
So that picture does mean a lot to me.
Yeah. Michaela has asked, where did you train to do your dancing?
I was at, first it was at South East London College. So I was doing a foundation course, and then I went on to Laban, but my mum was unwell and things just didn't go well. So I ended up having to come out of that course to go and get employment, but I still danced. It's something that is in my blood. So on that road. Oh, my little treasure.
So, yeah, sorry, it's come up already, but I was going to ask you about your blessing. And can you tell us who this is, and just tell us about your blessing?
Okay, that's my little cutie pie who's going to be 12 soon, actually. So at a very hard time in my life, I'd not too long separated from my husband and just wasn't in the greatest of place health-wise. My brother, my middle brother, was taking care of his children due to the fact that the mother was not capable of caring for the children. And then we found out that she was expecting another child. We spoke to, yeah, somebody recognized her straight away. So, so what happened, I was asked, I was at uni at the time studying my business and management degree, and I was asked if I would be willing to take on Amara so that she didn't go into care. So I knew that I was going to have her from she was maybe about 7 months in her mother's womb. So we had to go through the whole process and stuff. And she just came at such a perfect time for us. But those of you that have had children, you have 9 months to prepare. I didn't. I was working, I was studying, and I had to do the night feeds, the morning feeds, and everything, and juggle a job at the same time. And it was a lot, but you know what? I have absolutely no regrets. She calls herself my little handbag. And she, you know, she's adored by all of us. And she's leaps and bounds at the moment. So yeah, that's my blessing. She's going to be 12 in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, time has flown. It really has flown.
12.
Yeah. And she's called Mars Bar. I wish I recognised that name. I don't know who VO is. They know the whole of my business. They're coming incognito to sort of throw me off, but still, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so let's come on to second chance. Because I think that's where, because obviously I've known you for, seems like forever.
Yeah.
But second chance is where we kind of really connected.
Absolutely.
So do you want to tell people about second chance, where it came from? I know it was established in 1995, was it? 96. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So 1996. So because just goes to show. Yeah. So if you just tell us where that came from, where that whole theme came from, and also the colors, because I remember we all used to wear purple. Purples.
Yeah, purple is one of a color I love for various reasons, but I'll tell you about the journey. I was fortunate enough in 1995 to take a major step of starting my own business, which at the time was called Classique. And what I did was organize events. I managed managers, like when they were traveling and they needed hotels, they'd call us up and we'd book all of that, arrange their transportation. If people were coming in from out of states and they wanted to see London, they'd come and see us and we'd book their times at the theatre and all that kind of stuff. I loved it because I was an events organizer at the time. And everything was going great, but I actually didn't have the skills, and I'm going to expand on that a bit more, that sometimes we have visions and we have dreams and aspiration and we run ahead without the actual skills or the network of people to be able to bring it to fruition. And not too long into the company, I decided to do a major event, which was called Ladies of Gospel. And I was able to secure all these sort of renowned names from the US to come to the UK. We had Twinkie Clark, Vicky Winans, Bobby Jones, all of these, and little me had been able to secure this. I had a funder, I had the tickets booked, and everything was going to plan. And then my funders went bust. And we know we don't really buy our tickets until the day. So there was no reserve of funds or anything like that. And I was now left in a situation where I couldn't go forward. I couldn't go backwards. Everything just crashed around me. And it's really funny just how quickly things can just close. Doors just closed on me. You know, the bank sealed the funds that were there, and you know, all of a sudden everything just started to fall around me. And at that point I started to go down. And I remember the space that I had it had my flat above it, and the landlord now was sort of saying, look, they're not going to really renew the lease and so forth. So I had to quickly move out. My car was repossessed, and I was like, hello dear Lord, what else? And it was like everything that could come from every single direction came. And a friend of mine said, look, Mel, I'm going away for a while. You could stay at my flat. And that's what I did. I literally just moved everything into that flat. But there was a lot of things that wasn't in the flat, and it wasn't in the greatest of places. And I realized, and there we go now, this thing about isolation. I wouldn't talk to people. I didn't tell people what was going on. I actually wasn't dealing with the way that I felt about it. I just went, now I understand, in a complete and absolute depression. And, you know, people who I owed money to, they were coming for their money, and rightly so. Do you know what I mean? They had invested in a venture that didn't happen. They wanted their money back. And I was just flat on my face. And I remember one day I looked, I had no electric, no gas, no food, just cold house, just depressed as can be. And I just thought, you know what? I've always been smart with certain things, and I had a life insurance. And I said, you know what, if I take my life, then that can pay off all my debts and all my bills. And I did. I took a cocktail of tablets and I climbed into my bed. I'd written a suicide note, put it beside my bed, went under the duvet, and I went to sleep. And I actually slept from the Friday through to the Sunday morning. And for some reason, I could just hear this noise going on and on in my ear, only to realize it was my cassette radio that my mum had bought me just a little while before, had batteries in it. And it must have been going off, but because I was so deep in my sleep because of the medication that I had taken, that I hadn't heard it before. And I woke up dazed and just really out of it, but to this song, which is sung by Monique Walker and Ezekiah Walker. And the song was For You're the God of a Second Chance. And I bawled my eyes out. And somebody was knocking on the window and the door. And, you know, it took me a little time to come out of my fog. And I went over and they dropped a newspaper through the door. And when I opened it, it said about if you need deliverance and so forth. And it was a church over in North London. I took the journey and I went over there. And when I got there, I walked in, the guy said to me, "You've written out your prayer." And I said, "No, I haven't." He said, "Yes, you have." And when I looked in my bag, there was my suicide note. And from there, that was my journey of healing. I went through a process with them and started to deal with my issues and so forth. So that's where I got the name Second Chance. And it was after that, it was about a year later, that I then started to develop what it was. And I thought, I can't be the only person going through this. I can't be the only person that has suffered this level of loss or gone through something that is traumatic, that needs some support and some help. And I put on my first retreat and we had I think we had 10 people there, and it was absolutely brilliant. it was absolutely brilliant. I came back and I was like, wow, Lord, you are just so good. And bit by bit, my strength got renewed and so forth and so forth. And that's where I broke a lot of the stigma as well, because how dare I tell people that I tried to commit suicide? How dare I tell people that my business went under? How dare I tell people that I'd lost finance? But the more I said it, is the more I became liberated. And it's the more that I felt free. It's the more that I realized about the grace of God. And I knew, oh, I can talk about it because I'm still here. I'm alive. That means there's purpose. And as long as I have breath, I'm going to tell my story, you know, and telling the story gets rid of the shame.
That's an interesting point. Telling the story gets rid of the shame. And, you know, when I think about our, you know, our foreparents, they weren't good at telling this. They didn't really tell any kind of story apart from what you were supposed to do and what you weren't supposed to do. And, you know, that word trauma, I've heard, you know, that word trauma that you talk about, I think many people, you know, they live with the trauma. They live with the trauma. And you talk about being liberated by being able to speak. You know, and I know what, you know, I know that I can empathize with it because I've been there. So I know what it's like to not say anything, to keep things inside. And I remember that even on the last Women Lead, I said that, you know, when you keep things inside, it has to come out somehow.
Some way.
And some way, and it, you know, and it'll, you know, for some it will come out with, you know, as I say, for me, as I said, if I'm stressed or whatever, and I'm holding something in, it'll come out. You'll see on my neck, it'll be all, it'll change color. I'll get darker, I'll get rashes, and do you get what I mean? Because it's like stress, you know. But once you speak, as you say, once you let it out, you do get that sense of liberation.
Do you know the thought that just came to me while you were sharing, Ange, was that what happens to us is ours, but what we allow is other people to tell it.
Yeah.
And when others tell it, it doesn't come with the same sincerity or truth as when it's you saying it.
Exactly.
So this is where we become empowered, when we tell our story, not allowing somebody else to tell it, but for us to tell it. Then we depower the, you know, people exaggerating it or saying it in a way that's not true. And we also depower the power that Satan would like to have, which is to hold us in a place of darkness. But I've learned now that darkness is nothing to be afraid of. Darkness is where things will grow. Darkness is also a place of protection. It's a place where you are able to be covered and to regain your strength and come out. And that's why I love preaching about Samson. You know, it was in that place of hiding, in that place where, you know, everybody had written him off. You know, his hair grew back. You know, his strength returned. And so for me, that I believe in saying and telling my story unashamed, right? Because once if I have sinned, let's put it out there. If I have sinned and I go to God and he forgives me, guess what? I'm forgiven. You cannot hold me where he is not holding me. So I'm not giving you that power. Not giving it. No.
And you are totally right. You are totally right. It is one. There is. Then we get back to that word, authentic. You know, you know, when you tell your own story, there's an authenticity about it. You know, and that's what brings the healing. And what I think for me, going to the second chance retreats, you know, that I experienced my healing to the point that I think it got to the stage where you actually were asking me then to share my story to help others. And you're right. You know, if I told you my story and you'd shared it, it would have never had the same impact.
No. And you see, that's what second chance is. It's you'll hear my story and you'll hear other people share where they've come from. And stories are vast. Okay. And then once they've got their strength, you've got your strength, you come and tell your story and we share and we build each other up. And the idea is that it's not that it's the same people year after year. When you've grown, you go out and you now share in your own ministries, in your own dreams and visions and so forth, and go forward. And that's why we have the joy that this year we're going to be celebrating 25 years. Who could that be but God?
Wow, exactly. Exactly. This picture says pursue, overtake, and recover all.
Yeah.
When you talk about what you've lost, the losses that you've experienced. Yeah, and even in 2015, you were talking about pursuing, overtaking, and recovering all. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. My mum used to say this thing to me, and at the time when she said it to me, I didn't really understand it, but I do get it now. God never allows us to arrive. We're always on a journey. And there's always deeper depths and there's always higher heights. And I'm trying not to be too churchy, but yeah. But and try not to go off in preaching mode. But so because of that, don't ever settle somewhere where this particular statement of pursue, overtake, and recover all is based on the fact that David had gone out, won a battle, and come back to home, and it was devastated, been burnt out. It's a place called Ziklag, and it was burnt to nothing. Now, he had a choice. He could have put his tent up there and stayed there and just said, oh, well, that's what happened. Nah, he got militant. He said, you know what? Someone has got my stuff that belongs to me, so I'm going to go after it. Yeah. And so he pursued, he went after the thing that had been stolen. So that's what I do. I pursue my vision. I pursue after my goals. I drive myself. I do. I really have that driving power. And anybody that comes alongside of me, they know they have to come at the same pace as me. Right. And then I overtake my limitations, because it says that he's able to give us more than we're able to think about. So I do believe that when we sort of set the vision, he's going to make it far greater than what we could ever understand. Yeah. And then when we get to it, it's not just a recovery. And David did not just take back his wife. He took back every single thing that had been stolen by the enemy. He took back what was his and more. So when we go after and when we pursue, we're going to go and get more than what we've lost. But if we sit down and don't do anything, we're actually going to end up with nothing. So my desire is always, and that's why I'm smiling in that picture, because I think the penny really dropped for me there, to know that, Mel, you're here, and you know there is so much ahead of you, and that was a joy that I had in my heart. And there was a young lady that had come to that event. It was Jackie's niece, I think it was, and she came in and she was so sad and broken. By the end, the laughter that was on her face, we didn't even recognize it was the same person.
Oh wow.
It was when she came and hugged me, somebody said, "That's the same young lady that was sitting at the front." I said, "No." And then, you know, Jackie said to me, "Yes, it is. That's my niece." And that's what we're about: reviving, renewing, restoration, helping people to get back what they've lost. Yeah.
So it's been going for 25 years, and it's taken you to various places. I mean, this is just one picture of you. Tell us about this picture with your entourage. Tell us about that.
I know, my lovely ladies, all doing their own thing now, because we've disbanded really as a kind of corporate team as such, but they travelled the journey for many years with me. So this was an open door, and I want to share this with somebody. And I think it was important because when I was writing my notes, this came up. Now, I've had the privilege to go international to minister and so forth, and I've also had the opportunity of speaking in a lot of places across the UK and you know, abroad and so forth. And why am I saying that? I'm saying it to say this: I have never once asked to speak anywhere. My gift makes room for me. I've never pallied up with somebody because I know if I go with them, then that's going to open a door, because I know, because of what happened to me with Classic, that if I take on something before I'm ready, it will melt away in my hands. Yeah. So I don't run or do anything unless God bids me to do it. And it's not always easy, because sometimes you want to go with the crowd, but that is something I stand by, and I've done that throughout my life of ministry. This particular thing came up when I stepped in because a minister wasn't speaking at an event, and they asked if I would go because everything was publicized. I said, yeah, no problem. And while I was there, one of the mothers of Zion, she came to me, she said, "I live in Ghana. Would you come out and minister?" So the team's around me, and I said, yes. So they've all burst out laughing, like, "Mel, go to Ghana? She can't even cope when she sees an ant. How is she going to cope in Ghana?" And I said, yes. And you know, like when something comes out of your mouth and you're like going, did I really just say that? And it's like, but it had gone out, and it was like, God wanted it out, signed, sealed, delivered. So when I said yes, she asked me the next question. And I can't remember the exact time when she had asked me. I'm going to say it would have been maybe about October, November. And she said, "When would you come?" And I said, Easter. I'm like saying to myself, could somebody just put my mouth in a muzzle or something just to stop me from talking? But it was just all coming out, Ange. And I made the decision, and we said yes. We had no money. We had nothing. But it was something that God wanted to teach me. And that goes back to my vision and the things that I've said to you, that this thing, where it's not something we do as an island or as an individual, it's collectively. And I sat down and I started to map out and I started to plan. And oh my days, you won't believe this. We were able to raise, I think we raised just under £10,000 for us to go and to Ghana. We bought We sent over barrels for the children in the orphanage.
Wow.
We were able to bring clothes. People in church gave their clothes, and listen to this, how beautiful it was. We gave them to the overseer, and when we gave it to him, Dr. Mensah, he gave them out to his ministers. And when we were there on one of the nights, we saw them coming in the suits that we had just bought from the UK. It was so beautiful. And we brought lots of stuff to the children at the orphanage, and they were brought down to the event, and they had some of the clothes on as well. It was just absolutely brilliant. I've never seen anything like that and experienced that level of love from everybody. And so we made it our duty to keep telling what was happening while we were out there in Ghana. I had an absolutely wonderful time, petrified, because I'm not even going to pretend. We were picked up, and as we were going to the first night, and we was driving down the road, it was absolutely hilarious. And I looked up, and there was this massive banner with my face on it, and I was going, what is going on? And the girls, they were laughing after me, and Miss Cheryl was the troublemaker. She was there taking the pictures out of the car. But when we pulled into the arena where I was going to minister the word, I couldn't come out the car. I was so scared. Wow. I was so petrified. Everybody came out and went on, and Pastor Dennis, he just took my hands and he said, come on, Mel, you've got to come out. I said, I don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. And, you know, I'm in Ghana. I'm ready. They're ready for me. I'm delivering the word. And I'm just stunned by the amount of people. And eventually got me out. He literally pushed me up the stairs onto the stage. Oh, wow. But see, there's something that happens when God takes over. All fear, doubt, insecurities, that's just put to the background. And I delivered the word there, and it was such a turning point for me. And you know, he ministered to me, and he called me out. Called out the ministry in me, prayed over me, covered me, and you know, yeah, God was absolutely awesome.
The comments, there are some great comments coming up you know, about the faithfulness of God. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Boy, yes, I did.
You certainly did. And another one said that God's got you, and that's right. He had you. Yeah, he had you, and and nothing happens by chance. No. You know, there is a reason for everything. You know, and even the disappointments that we face. You know, there are reasons for it. I'm going to take you to a kind of the painful side, because you know, you have had a roller coaster of a life, really.
Absolutely.
And you know, your mum passed away, and that was December 2016, and you caught your queen. My queen went to be with God. Yeah, and look at the pictures of her. I remember her hats.
She loved her hats. She loved her hats.
And for you, having been through the highs and the lows, because you have, how did you deal with this, and how did you cope with, you know, your queen going to be with the Lord? 2016
was one of the strangest years for me, because as you just heard, the excitement that I shared with you about going to Ghana.
Yeah.
So that was in the Easter. Then the September was my 50th, which is my Jubilee year.
Wow.
And my mum, she came out there. She had become quite sickly by then, in the sense of her physical ability to move. But believe me, nothing went wrong with her mouth. My mum could oh my God, she kept me in check with no problem whatsoever. So in that sense, we did not see this coming. We really didn't. Mum was progressive, and she was strong in the house as she could be, and so forth. And I remember getting that dreaded call in December, and the call just said, Mum's gone. I said, where's Mum's gone? I thought she'd gone out the house. I thought, do you understand? That's what I thought. And they said, no, Mum's gone, and we've been trying to call you, because what had happened, I'd taken my daughter to school, and you're not allowed to carry your mobile in. And I was like, God, I can't handle this. I don't think I'm ready for this. And I remember rushing down to the house because she passed away at home. And I went into her room and she was there. She was sleeping. And I just looked at her and I'm saying, no, she's going to wake up as far as I was concerned. But I knew that she had passed because the medics had already been and so forth by the time we had got down there. And that was my world shattered, because my mum was like my rock. You know, she gave good counsel. She supported us. We were brought up as in a single parent environment since I was 9 and my sister was 6. So it was us girls, you know, the boys are there, but it was always us girls, if you get what I mean. And so to lose such a strong woman and someone that had such a major part in my life, without any real preparation as such, I broke. I have never, ever cried so much in my life. Yeah, it was ridiculous. My heart, my heart just, still now, you know, I'm trying to keep it together while I'm saying it to you, but to lose my queen was the hardest thing. And I actually never thought I would recover, but thank God I'm on the mend. I am on the mend, but it was a hard thing. That picture there, and that's some of my nieces and my nephew, and that's my ex-husband beside me. And that's us looking up the road as she comes down the road for her last time past her home. And that was a hard time for me to know that, you know, we were not going to see her again. But I have now come to understand, and some people that are on here, they have said some words that have been like a healing balm to me. When people say, you preach just like your mum, you sing like your mum, you stand like your mum, they actually don't understand how much that means, you know. So even though she's no longer here physically, my mum's here. She, you know, the things that she has taught me and my siblings, they're here, they resonate inside us. And it drives me. You know, she had great expectations for her children, and my desire is to fool them and surpass them. So, you know, it was a hard time. But one thing I did, which was the strangest thing, I actually cried. I didn't care when, how, I didn't care how ugly it would look. And I cried because it was real pain. I didn't hide it. And when people used to attack me and say, you need to stop now, I said, no, I don't. No, I don't. You know, and sometimes we have to get to that place where we're so bold for our own sanity and for our own well-being that we have the ability to just sort of say, actually, you can stop. If you want to stop, that's all right for you. For me, no, I'm going to cry. That's for me. And that's what I did. It was a hard time. I can't lie. Yeah. But
after the breaking.
Yeah. So this is 2018, but just let me make a point in saying I actually lost my dad in 2014.
Oh, wow.
So I lost dad 2014, and just as we were recuperating, then we lost mum in 2016. So it was a lot for us as a family. And not too long before that, my mum had lost her sister. So it was like within the family and close to us, it was quite a lot to take on. But 2018, I started to realize that I can't change how people view me, because I'm one of those, I think I call myself my Marmite. You either love me or you don't love me. Oh, so silly. But as long as I know that if you don't like me, I don't have nothing in my heart for you, if that makes sense. There's nothing I can do about it. You just don't like me. And I'm cool with that. I'm going to love you regardless. Because I used to make it my mission to try and work out why people don't like me, why they don't. And you know what? That takes up so much energy. And when you try and work it out, you still can't work it out. So you know what? Just check your heart, check yourself. And if you're okay and there's nothing there, just move on. And that comes to family, friends and foe. Yeah. You just got, you can't change people how they see you. You've just got to try and live the best life that you can, and that's what I do to the best of my
and that's the reality, because you cannot change, you cannot affect how people behave, how they react. And as someone says there, it's too exhausting.
Exactly.
Not worth it. It's not. It is exhausting. You know, and it takes you to a place where you're not supposed to be. You're not supposed to be trying to work out what's in somebody else's head.
No.
You know, that is it. It is exhausting. It's debilitating. It kind of saps you of energy that you need for yourself. And I totally get that. I wonder how was it for your, you have a very close, very tight family. Was that what helped to bring you through? Because obviously losing your mum and your dad in a relatively short space of time, it's hard. It's a hard thing, losing anyone, but losing both your parents within 2 years of each other, pretty much.
Yeah.
How did your siblings cope?
Do you know what? I think we've all dealt with it very differently. And I have watched it sort of manifest itself differently in all of us. The one thing we've tried to do is just ensure that if somebody needs help, that we're there for each other. We don't live in each other's pockets. Actually, I'll rephrase that. I kind of live in my sister's pocket. We're very close. But, we do just try to kind of watch out. And it was it might have been towards the ending of last year, the beginning of this year. My middle brother, he doesn't really say much, but he carries a weight. He does carry a lot. And he just said to me, Mel, I'm really proud of you. And so would Mum. And I don't do it on the phone. I wait till I put the phone down. But it meant the world to me, because he's not really a mushy person. He really is not. And for him to have said that, and the time he said it, it just meant the world to me. And so I think as a family, we've just done the best that we can, and been underpinned by God's grace. And the beauty as well is that my mother prayed. So a lot of the times it was her prayers that carried us through. And we've got some great family members, cousins and stuff, that have just been rocks to us. I've got a particular cousin, she just walked the whole thing with me. She's loopy actually, but she stood by me, and she was what I needed. Yeah, she was what I needed. She don't take, sometimes it was like too much. Come on, Mel, pull yourself up, you've got to get on with this kind of thing. And that was great. And my sister had close friends that supported us. So we're not envious or jealous of our friends. We've all got our own little units of people that we have, but when we need to, we come back together and we group. And yeah. Oh,
that's great. That's good to hear. Right, so we've been moved on swiftly to your award, your Wise Woman Award 2019.
Yeah. This, there's a reason why I'm sharing this, not because I got the Wise Woman Award. I want to tell you how I got the Wise Woman Award.
Okay.
A young lady that I had invested quite a lot of time in, who came to second chance events and so forth, saw the form and nominated me.
Oh, wow.
Now that means so much more to me than the actual award. I'm not dissing the award, but I want you to understand, because she had to write about what I meant to her and what second chance meant to her and the work that I do. That speaks volumes more than anything else. And I've had lots of other people that had the forms but never ever thought of nominating me, or never thought of putting the organization forward, even though they were helped and benefited from the organization. But this young lady took it on herself to do this and to put me in a position which then opened so many other doors for me, to which I'll be eternally grateful. And the strange thing about it now, we're not even as close as we were previously before, but I will always be grateful for her action. But this thing on the 2019 was like a real turnaround for me, with all that I had been going through, to now put me in a position, come on, Mel, you've been given this for your community work. You better get up and get on with some more community work. And so it kind of propelled me to start doing a lot of the work that I'm doing at present.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thanks for that. And, you know, it's fitting. You know, it says Wise Women Award, but one thing I do know is that you are a very wise woman. You know, I've heard, you know, in your counsel, in your ministry, even when you're singing, you know, your wisdom comes forth. It's just come, and there we go. You know, yeah, I think I was even there, actually. I was actually at this event listening to you sing. I hadn't heard you sing like that for many, many years. So tell us about this.
Right. So this was a crowning time for me. And this is the church that I belong to. But I've never taken that level of or position to sort of lead worship. And the national director called me for somebody else's number. And while he was talking to me on the phone, he just said, but you're a singer. And I feel led to ask you to yeah, I need you. You're going to do this. And to be honest, he didn't really tell me what it was that he wanted me to do. He didn't go into details, which is good because I'm quite a nervous person and I probably would have talked myself out of it. Val's on here and we did this journey together because it was a big step for both of us to do. Yeah. And it was a step for both of us because we were solidifying ourselves back in a place of knowing God for ourselves and finding our way. And, you know, I kind of semi-mentor Val and support her. So we were going this journey. And when we said we're going to do it, we went up there and Lord, we were like fish out of water. But, you know, we encouraged each other. And it was one of the most greatest experiences that I've had. The team were brilliant, the musicians and everybody. It was just the warmth and the love that we experienced was second to none. And, you know, sorry, Val's corrected me. You are my mentor.
Oh, there you go.
I stand corrected, love. And, you know, it was just such a great experience. And I remember when I stood and I sang this particular song, The Lord is My Shepherd. And when I sang that song, that he goes before me. And it was like, for the first time, I realized that, Mel, you got to tell your story, but you can't keep looking back. And I realized that God is going before me. He's dealt with what is behind me. And now it's time to step into whatever is for me. So what is before me is for me. And, you know, it was awakening. And it seems like I go through stages, you know, low times of the year, then something good happens and so forth. So it was a turning point for me. And I was very grateful for that. And it has propelled me to sort of take a stance very much in my worship. And some of you had the privilege of seeing my People Get Ready. With
actually, yeah. I mean, I think we're gonna. I would definitely want to show that because when I saw that, I thought, oh my gosh.
and I'm in purple. You see?
Yes. Can I just say though that I want to go back to this thing about being a mentor. And Val, I don't want to embarrass you in any shape or form, but it was, let me tell you, to see Val, and when I say to see Val, I mean to see her, you know, visible. Look at her smile. To see her visible, to hear her speak, you know, because that mentorship that you're doing, you can see it. She's, you know, she's grown. She's like a flower that's kind of bloomed and flourished. And you know, even when I saw her singing, because I hadn't seen her sing for so many years, so many years, and it actually really got to me. It was just so, again, liberating to see you both up there, and it was just great. really great. Just like, my dearest friend Jackie, to see all of you up there, it was just, it took me back. It definitely took me back, and it's so
Yeah,
important.
do you know what it is, Ange? I think we're not very forgiving of broken people, yet we want to read the word and we want to preach the word, and in there are broken people.
Yeah.
And so for me, because I want mercy, I'm going to show mercy. Does that make sense? And I'm not going to show mercy just because I'm in that predicament. I need to sow those seeds well ahead.
Yeah.
And, we've got to go alongside our brothers and sisters and just help them to gain their wings. I wouldn't eat. She says I'm a mentor. Listen, that Val's flying, right? And it's never been it's not my thing. I don't hold people. Yeah. When God says release them, I let them go, because it doesn't make sense that you invest and you help and build, and then you want to keep them under your silliness. Absolute silliness. It's about releasing people to be themselves, to be what God ordained and called them to be. Brock up, chip up, crooked, whatever. Sorry, the Jamaican does come out. Whatever way that we can be who we're meant to be, right? And if I'm meant to walk beside you for a while, then I do that. But the minute I need to let go, I need to let go and let them be. And that's, and that's why I said I was a mentor, but evidently she's not letting me go. So that's all.
You know what? Let me tell you something. Whatever's happening, she is flying. She is flourishing. And I just love to, you can just see her happiness, her radiance. It's just great. It's great to see. And, really, God has put something special in you for you to have that impact on people. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's not, as I said, this is not by chance. Second chance, maybe. But let me tell you, you have really put into practice even the visions that we talked about right at the beginning, when you say, do not pass anyone in need, love your neighbor as yourself. You don't need a reason to help someone, and your life is your message to the world. You have lived that. You are living that, and as I said, that's, these are just reasons why you are on this platform, because you practice what you preach. Yeah, you don't just have words and spark off, but I have actually seen you demonstrate it. It's not, it's not a celebrity status thing for you. You see it as a mission. You see it as, a duty. And even coming on here and being so transparent, and I've seen some of the comments from people, lead by example. And also Sister Desiree, I think it was, talking about her parents and how it was to lose both parents. I'm sure she said on the same day.
Wow.
She lost her mum and her dad, and, again, thank you for sharing that, because, again, that is your release, you being able to share that with us. And, many of us are on this platform and have lost loved ones. And when we can actually talk about it and smile, and, because yes, we hurt, yes, we feel the pain, but you're right, the memories, the good memories that you have, and the grace of God is what holds you. So yeah, it's the blessings that that God is continuing to bless you. He really, really is. We have got I wanna you to explain that your first blessing, my first blessing that officiated. What was that? Tell me about that.
Okay, so that's my good friend Ellie and Richard, and they were.
Ellie's on tonight, isn't she? I think she's on tonight. Sure. But anyway, go on. I think she's okay.
So Ellie and Richard were celebrating their anniversary and decided that they would like to have say the vows rather than how they had got married initially. And so they gave me this call and they said, Mel, we want you to come up and we want you to do this. And I'm like thinking, I don't know what to do. What do you mean you want me to come? You're going to do it, blah, blah, blah. And I went up to this beautiful place and it was just so romantic. And, God willing, if he allows me to marry again, please, Lord. But, want it like that. It was just so romantic, and we sat out in the beautiful gardens, but I was the one who officiated, blessed them. And what I loved about this particular blessing, there was people from all walks of life. Now, if you know Ellie and Richard, they have a dog. I'm not going to say his name. And he's like their child, and he was a part of the ceremony. So I had to ensure that, you know, he was mentioned and so forth. And that's just going against everything that Mel is, you know. So it was just the understanding of being in a place and making it special for the people that have asked me to be there. And one of the best times for me, they've got these two guys, these gay guys, who sat down with me and they talked to me about God. Well, tell me about this God then, because evidently you like him. And that's how they dealt with me. But I loved it because I was able to share, but I came from a place of love to them, you know, and that will always be such an important part of my life, to understand that when people don't want to hear the word, they want to experience the action of love. And that's what I want to ensure, that that's what people see and hear when I do it. So, yeah. Oh,
that's excellent. And your family, sorry, and can you just go back? So I just wanted to see your son, and because your son
is a giant. Yeah,
he's a giant. He's a great inspiration, isn't he?
Lovely. He's lovely. So he is doing he's at uni at the moment doing architecture, and that's little Miss down at the bottom. And yeah, we're a lovely unit, and I give God thanks. It's not always easy, seriously, it's not. It wasn't easy. My marriage broke down when he was 6 as well, so he's been brought up by me, but his father has been active in his life, and I made sure that happened because I know the distance that I had with my dad until my later years, and I was not going to have that for my child. And so, but my son, he towers over me. He actually annoys me. If I stand up, he leans on my head, you know, making the point, because I'm 4'11" and he's about 6'3", you know. So, and Amara's catching up with me as well. So yeah, the height business in our house is much of a challenge, you know. But yeah, I love my little unit. I love it, and we're growing and we're becoming, you know. I'm loving the things that Lamar's doing and the things he's pursuing, and Amara's settled into secondary school as well now, and I'm doing things that I love. So, and that's just come out of a lot of prayer from friends, family, my mum, and me over my children.
Yeah. That's excellent. And you say about getting married again, is that something that you'd like to do?
Yeah, should I put it out there?
Just put it out there, because as I said, we've got a few men online, so you never know. Just put it out there, girl.
Yeah, do you know what? Previously, before I wasn't interested, and my priority was my children. I know the characters of my son, and I know what he wouldn't have coped with somebody else being in my life, and I understood that, and I was okay with that. Even though at uni, so yeah.
Oh wow.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm cool. Whatever. Oh dear. I wish this person would let me know. They've said they're going to go and get a hat now. They're so
no, but they didn't just say that. They said that they're going to get a hat for the church and then another hat for the reception. That's what they said.
Do you know what? I've got this funny feeling that might be my cousin. I've got a funny feeling. Right. So, yeah, I would love to. But I knew for myself I needed to be healed, and I needed to understand what I wanted. My marriage would have lasted if I understood what it was to be married. I didn't know what it was to be a wife. I didn't understand how to juggle being a mother, ministry, and all those sort of things. And I put the wrong things in the forefront, which then broke our marriage. And that's why we're still such good friends, because we know that we made silly mistakes. And if we hadn't done those and had the right support mechanisms around us, we probably would be still together today. But, you know, I've got a lot of love that I would like to give, and so I'm open to that, and I put it out there into the atmosphere.
You put it out there, girl, and keep putting it out there.
The number is 123. No.
Okay, so we've got your final picture. So I wanna. Is that one?
No, there's another one after.
There's another one. Okay, two more. Sorry. Tell me about this one.
Okay, so there's
a lot of people there.
Okay, and thank you for realizing that. This was an event called Restoration, and it was run by a lovely guy called Jermaine Stalker, who I used to mentor, and loved him to bits. And he invited me to come and preach. Now, you're not going to believe, that's all young people.
Wow.
It was a youth event. And I remember turning up, and I turned to the team. I said, look, we're going out. Because I was like, what is going on? And I remember standing there, and it was like, this is what you're meant to be doing, Mel. This is what you're meant to be doing. Get up and do it. And from then, I've not stopped. I go on, I minister all over. But that was an awakening for me, that, you know, I'm called to the nations, and I need to rise up and to do that. And, you know, some people might not agree, but that's okay. It's not them write my blueprint. I go to the Father above, and and he's the one who releases and anoints me to do that. So yeah, it was
I'm gonna ask you a question before we show the last slide.
You're gonna be naughty, aren't you?
No, I'm not gonna be naughty at all. I'm just because some people might say that you're rebellious.
Yeah.
And what would you say to No,
that's a word.
That's a word.
I wouldn't say I'm that. What I know that it's something my friend Jo says to me often. She said, I will go to her and I'll say, what do you think if I should do this? And she says, Mel, I don't need to tell you what to do, because you hear from God.
Yeah.
And I do. So if God tells me to do something, I will go and I will do it. I may not have nobody else standing with me, but as long as I know that God has sanctioned it, I'm going to do it. And that's how I've done it. And most of you will know that I put on events, and God will just birth them in my spirit. I mean, the other day we did Blessed Are They That Mourn. One morning, God woke me up and gave me the vision of it, and I just follow it through. And that's what I do. And what he has done is given me a spirit of boldness. Let's use that. Yeah. That he makes me bold in what he has called me to do. And so because of that, and if people know me, they know that I'm actually quite a shy person. I actually don't like being at the front. Before I'm about to minister, I'm shaking in my boots. But let me tell you, the minute he takes over, you see the different Mel. And for that, I'm grateful, because that helps me to understand. You see me, I'm just a vessel. I carry the anointing in me. I carry the purpose in me. And as long as I'm tapped into heaven, I'm doing what he needs. Call me what you want. Seriously, I'm going to do his will.
And you know, the thing is, somebody said quite right, you are determined. Yeah. And that's not rebellious. No. Being determined, determined to do God's will is what you are. And as I suppose we said it before, we can't explain the behavior of other people. And I suppose when you have, and I've experienced it myself, that when you have the work of the Lord to do, and you have been destined by him to do it, you know, people will call it whatever they want, but as long as you know who you've been called by, and you walk worthy in that, and you are authentic, and you are a woman of integrity, as we've talked about before, then somebody says we're responsible for ourselves and not others.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
So and I love the way that you have dealt with and let me say the adversaries, because that's what I'm going to call them. That's what I'm going to call them. And I'm going to talk it like it is, because you have had the adversaries come at you, but you have stood strong, and that's what I would expect of someone who's been called by God.
You know what the word tells you, the truth sets you free.
Amen.
And my life has to be the truth. I can't deal with the lies that people want to tell me, because that won't set me free. That ties me up. So at the end of the day, I have to walk in his truth for me. It's not what others want. It's the truth that God has for me. And once I've settled in that, that's why I'm okay with being me. I'm okay with that, because he has made me the way I am to accomplish the work that he has set me to do. And that's what he's done with everyone on the line, everyone listening to this. You have been uniquely made the way that you are, because you've got to accomplish something that's uniquely yours. And killing somebody to get it doesn't help. Help, support, build each other up. Yeah. Somebody's using the excuse of
that's poorly.
I don't use it. I have dyslexia, and what happens when I'm nervous, the words get muddled even more so. And so that's another reason why I used to have a team around me. When I go out to minister and I'm nervous, they read the word for me, or they will say things, because I don't learn words by phonics. I learn words by you saying this is the word, say it out. So I don't sound it out. So sometimes when it's said to me, and if I'm nervous, I can't say it how I want to say it. So I have people around me that support me and help me as I'm ministering words. But most people wouldn't even know that that is an issue that I've got.
Not at all, because I didn't.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, our final picture then. Yeah. And I love this picture. I love it. The bucket list. Just do it. Tell me what this encapsulates for you.
This is my 50th birthday, and I made the decision that I would have pursued being a dancer. It was a creative thing that I loved, and I was doing it from very early on. And I had my own dance company at the age of 16, touring schools across London. And I went away from it and stuff, but I've always had the passion. And two lovely ladies worked alongside me and produced this dance that I was able to do at my birthday. And one of them actually even made the outfit for me. I loved every minute of it, but my body hurt for about a week and a half afterwards. But I was able to do this, and that's something that I do now. I write things down. I write down things that I would like to achieve, and I go after it. I just do it. And I'll challenge anyone, pursue your dreams, pursue those things that are inside your passion, the things that you want to do. Don't let naysayers stop you from doing what you need to do. Do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Wow. You see, I told you that the time was going to go, didn't I? I said that it would go very, very quickly. And I'm gonna, before I say my thanks, I'm just gonna ask you if there's one thing that you want to leave with the men and women of this platform, just one nugget that you would like to leave, what would that be?
You're here on purpose, for a purpose. Just do it. Just do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Melanie Hamilton, it has been my absolute pleasure to have you on Women Lead. It has been my absolute pleasure. And I'm sure, even by the comments that we've had, and Michelle, thank you for that. Do great exploits. You're doing great exploits. You continue to do that, Mel. Continue to impact, empower, and inspire us out here. We need you, and God has just, and somebody said, you're God's anointed. You certainly are. You certainly are. You have impacted my life in so many ways that it would take not just this hour and a half to tell you how you have, in so many different ways, different environments. You have done that through the word, even through us talking, even our conversations sometimes. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you,
Liz.
so much. Really empowered by it. Thank you so much. And for everyone who joined us tonight, I want to say thank you. Okay, just hang on and we'll wait for the video, because yeah, it took that people get ready. That took me way back.
Oh, it did. Me too. Me too. It truly kind of amplified who I am. Truly, this is my story and this is my song.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Look at her. I remember this.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Hero, salvation.
You haven't changed at all.
Not at all. How old was you, Mel?
I look about 5, isn't it?
You haven't changed though, babe.
I've been washed in his blood. This is
One of my favorite songs.
Me too. They must have said, where did that voice come out, that little person?
Okay. Beautiful.
Oh, no worries. I shouldn't feel.
All my testimony to today. I was 30.
Thanks for watching the Women Lead interview as part of the Women Lead Network. My next interview will take place on Thursday, the 24th of June at the normal time of 7:30 p.m. with a special guest, Serena Balfour. Serena has spent a large portion of her life serving communities around the world and has a passion for young people. She is currently the founder of the US Charitable Trust, which focuses on improving the lives and the development of children and young people.